feeling that a man that we like is not as interested in us as we are interested in him, and the fear of losing him and being insecure about where we stand with him. Everyone has experienced these feelings, including myself. And what happens is we chase him. And that feels so yuck to move toward a man in any way. It makes us feel really, really bad in the end. And in this video, I want to go into some of the ways where you subtly chase men. Some of us will chase in a low key way, others will be more direct in terms of chasing or like pursuing a man. And if you're anything like me, you might be a little bit more low key with your chasing. Nonetheless, it's still chasing. Even if you're low key about it, these subtle signs of chasing, which I'm going to get into, are still you taking the lead in that way. And you never want to do that. I do want to say that we've all been in this situation. I've been in this situation, even with my husband. There's been times where I've taken this role unconsciously or maybe consciously, but I have taken this role. Although for me, sometimes it could be a little bit more low key. I want to get into like how you can be aware of your energy, because everything is energy, so that once you become conscious and aware of what you're doing, you can shift your vibe immediately and put the focus back on yourself. Number one is overthinking when he's not around. And as I just mentioned, energy is everything. Energy is everything. When a man is not with us, like physically in front of us, like in our present moment, when we are putting energy towards what he's doing, thinking about like the next date or how it was when we last saw him, any sort of thinking about him is taking up energy, and that is energetically chasing him. And guess what? Men can feel and people can feel when your energy is on them. And interestingly enough, there was a period of time before I got married where my husband and I, well, my fiance at that point, were apart. And the week before he came back, I heavily, heavily felt his energy. I thought it was me. Obviously, it wasn't me. I came to find out that it was him. I could feel his energy toward me. It was very, very strong. We had not spoken for 3 months at that point, and I could still feel the intensity of his energy coming toward me. So it's really important that it's okay if a man is thinking about us, we want that, and it's attractive, especially if it's a man that we want and we want to be with. We want his energy to come towards us, but we really want to be mindful that our energy is not going toward him. And so even if you are not doing anything direct in terms of like calling him, etc., if you are thinking about him excessively, so like a thought here and there is not going to influence his energy field. It's the excessiveness of the thoughts that you're having that is really going to impact him, and he's going to feel it. So even if you're not in his presence, if you're super, super anxious about what he's doing, what happens the next time you see him, or does he like you, does he not, it's still going to push him away. Even in no contact, if you are separated from someone, you really want to be careful that even if you are not chasing him, like it's not obvious, you really want to make sure that your energy is also not chasing him. And the way that you do that is that even if your thoughts go back to him, which is normal, there's nothing wrong with thinking about someone that we were in a relationship with or someone that we like. You really want to make sure that your energy comes back to self. And so the empowered feminine is always coming back to herself. She's always thinking about how she can improve her own life and enhance her own life in any way. That means enhancing her aura, and she wants to fill her life up so that her life is not focused on a man. And this is really important also for those of you that are married, like myself, that you do not put so much energy into your marriage or into your husband, because it changes the dynamic once you're married of the pursuer receiver. And you always want him to be in the pursuing energy. And if he's not in the pursuing energy, it's because you are waiting around for him and you're waiting for him to make the next move. The caveat here is you don't want to be waiting. Even if you want a man to do things for you and to set up dates, the key is that you don't want to be in this like waiting energy. You want to fill your life up as much as possible so that you're not in this like waiting energy, because he can feel that and it's just off-putting. The second way that you are chasing subtly is checking in and being like low key in your messages, checking in when he hasn't checked in on you. So it's those innocent messages that you're sending him. An innocent message could be, did you see that Trump made his like speech about blah, 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 blah? Did you see that Trump tweeted this, or whatever it is that his interests are and your interests are, and they like align, or it's like something big that's going on. Did you see that Trump got elected and he's like the president now? Anything which seems innocent because it's not really asking to go on another date. It's not anything about like the future or you two. It's still initiating contact and it's still like hoping that you guys will be back in touch again. If you message him anything at all, I don't care how innocent it is. I had a woman say to me, well, he's my mentor. Oh, he advises me on this issue or this issue. I don't care. Like any that you are messaging him is like a sign of you wanting his attention. And that's something to be aware of because that's still chasing. And a man's going to know that. So here's the thing about men men know when you're the pursuer. And even when it's something innocent, they know that it's not innocent. They know that, well, she's sending me this message because she wants to be in touch with me. So that's fine if you do want to be in touch with him and like that's your objective. Just be aware that that is still chasing because you always want to lean back and you always want a man to move towards you. The third way that we are subtly chasing a man is checking his social media. Checking his social media is so bad, and checking his status, etc., anywhere on WhatsApp is just not healthy. It is a normal thing to do when you are not with that person that you like love, and like let's say there's a period of separation and it's normal. Everyone has done it. I've done it. My husband has done it. Like it's normal. So I don't want you to beat yourself up. It's just like human behavior that when something that we are so familiar with is not with us, our brain goes into what are they doing? And our brain is like looking to make some sort of connection about where this person is. So, like, that's normal. It becomes unhealthy if it's like a prolonged amount of time that you're not together, or let's say you've been dating for like a significant amount of time and he hasn't moved things forward and you're feeling insecure about his intentions. You're feeling insecure, and that's why you're checking his social media. That's a sign that this is not the right relationship for you and it's like not healthy because you shouldn't be checking someone's social media to see what they're doing. When you're in no contact or you've broken up with someone, even though it is normal that you're going to do it, because I know a lot of people say go no contact, don't do anything. It is normal that you're going to have the urge to check their social media. And you can even indulge that a little bit. You don't have to go cold turkey. If you're more in your feminine energy, you're going to grieve. You're going to do all the things that men might not necessarily do right away, unless he's your husband or someone that's like really dear to you, which he will then also be checking your social media. But most men don't really feel it until a little bit of time has passed. Whereas a woman, we feel it right away. And so it's okay to indulge in checking his WhatsApp, checking his social media, all those like things that we do. It becomes destructive when you're doing it after a period of time because then that's unhealthy for you. It's also a subtle way of chasing. So when you are the one that is checking this person's social media, checking their accounts, checking to see what they're doing, again, he can't come towards you because you're moving toward him. So you checking his social media is going to activate your thoughts and your energy and it's going to move toward him and he's going to feel it. And even if he doesn't know what it is, he's still going to sense that you are interested in him. And so you really want to make sure that you're not so fixated on his life because you might even see him post something that like triggers you, and when that happens you're going to go into the spiral, and when you go into the spiral your thoughts and your energy again are going to be too focused on him. So even if you're not like calling him directly or messaging him directly, energetic pursuing and chasing is a thing. Like he's going to feel it. So you really want to be careful and not stalk him on social media whatsoever. Even delete him if it helps you to delete him. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend blocking. It depends on the specific situation. If you're blocking, you should only be blocking to protect your own mental health and not because you're trying to get something from someone. So if you're blocking because you just really want out of sight, out of mind, like then you should go ahead and block because it's for your own peace. But if you're doing it because you're trying to get attention from him or anything like that, I don't recommend that because that's games. Also, it's not a bad thing if he's checking your social media. If you block, he can't really see your social media. But again, you don't want to be posting anything to get attention from him because, again, that's chasing and he's going to know that. He's going to feel that, oh, she's like posting all these things now because she's trying to get my attention. Another form of chasing, which is more when we're in a man's presence, is being too nice and being too accommodating. When we're being too nice and too accommodating, we're lowering our value and our worth to a man because we're suggesting that, like, we want to just go with the flow because what he says, his opinions, his everything matters more. We're really suggesting that he matters more than we matter. And so when we're doing that, it lowers our value. I want you to think about it like this. If we're not chasing and we are the person that is being pursued, so we're like in the receiving energy, we're just here, and the man is like coming toward us and he's trying to please us and he's being nice and he's coming toward us and he's trying to accommodate us, right? The person that's just staying grounded in their worth and grounded in what they want and who they are is in the receiving energy, versus the person that is moving forward and doing anything to get the other person's attention is the one that is more in the pursuing energy. When you're being too nice, you're being too accommodating, you're not necessarily doing that because you're a nice person. And this is something I've also had to battle with my husband, and with like serious relationships. I can move into people pleasing and it's unconscious. This is something I'm still working on. You're being too agreeable when you shift what you want. If that person sort of took what you were doing for granted, and then you get resentment. So you're not going to get resentment if you're really just a nice person and you're really just doing it out of the kindness of your heart. Most of us are being accommodating, and as women, we are more agreeable because we want to please our partner. There's a time for that. And so if it's your husband, it's a serious relationship, this man really loves you want to be a little bit more agreeable. But you don't need to be so agreeable and so nice and so accommodating for men that you are just dating. As an example of this, when my husband and I were dating, and even when he was my fiance, we live about 40 minutes apart before we live together. And I never drove to him, like ever. Maybe in our entire relationship, a handful of times. It was very, very rare that I would drive to him. And this was inconvenient for him. He has kids, and on the weekend, he would have to take his kids to hockey. And so he would be at my place, at my condo, but then he would drive all the way back to his place at like 6 in the morning sometimes, take them to hockey, come all the way back, even though he was working, etc. He's the one that had to come all the way to me after like a long day of work. It would be more convenient for him if I was the one that drove to his place, since I work from home, and even to stay at his house when during the weekends, because that's when his kids had like hockey, etc. Even the times when I wasn't with him and let's say he had his kids at that point, I never like went out of my comfort zone to go and hang out with him and his kids. And even if I did that, it was very rare and I really wouldn't sleep over that much. I really didn't accommodate him. Into marriage, I am a little bit more accommodating. Actually, I'm a lot more accommodating. So I've now moved. I obviously now am with his kids, but those are not things that I would do until I got to this point because now I'm married. And so there are adjustments that I've had to make, and there are things that now I'm doing. Now, you don't want to do that in the dating phase, because if you're doing that in the dating phase, even in the engagement phase, you're chasing him, you're trying to be available for him, you're trying to accommodate him, you want to make life easy for him, and that's chasing. You're moving toward him. You never want to be the one to move toward him, ever, like ever. Okay, the only time you really want to move toward a man is if you make a mistake in a relationship, and I can make a video on this if you want. But if you're the one that makes a mistake, then obviously you want to take accountability, you want to take ownership. But other than that, you don't really ever want to move toward a man. Lastly, you don't want to close all your options with a man before he's become exclusive. So it is really important that if you are in the dating stage and a man has not said, Samantha, will you be my girlfriend? That you are still dating other men. Okay. If you have closed your options because you're not that type of girl and you don't want to date multiple men, you are energetically going to be chasing him. You're going to be chasing him in all these ways because all of your attention is just on this man. And you're going to want his attention and focus because that's the only man you're dating. So you cannot give up your options for a man until that man has made you his girlfriend. And a man also knows when a woman is continuing to keep her options open and continuing to date and is not just like waiting around for him. And that also triggers his like desire to compete for your attention. And that's really, really important. You don't want to give that away. You don't want to give up your exclusivity for a man that has not even made you his girlfriend. Okay, my loves, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.